I wanted to hop on here and talk a little bit about how my summer knitting is going. It's really going a little bit slow based on what I had told you about 3 weeks ago and all my ambitions, but I want to get into it. I'll talk a little bit about what I'm working on, and I've got some exciting news of why it's going slow. So, my name's Amanda. I'm an average knitter, and on my channel, I like to talk about things that I've knitted, things that I want to knit and working on, and tips and tricks that have helped me along the way. Let's get right into everything. So, first thing I want to share with you is that I am entering 3 knitted items in the Kentucky State Fair this year. I'm really excited. Last year was the first year I entered, and I entered very basic things, but it was the first time. I had a group of friends. We entered a few things, and then on opening night, we went and looked to see how everybody's entries did. And I didn't get a prize, but it was really about going with my friends, and it was really fun. So this year, I did want to enter, and I was a little bit more ambitious with my knitting, and I improved quite a few of my skills. And so let me show you one of the things I've started, and this is Frog from Frog and Toad. In one of my previous episodes, I talked about my 25 or my top 5 favorite gift knits of 2025, and Frog and Toad was one of them. He didn't start off being a gift knit, but he ended up being a gift knit for a niece of mine who is an elementary school librarian. So this is Frog, and you start at the top of Frog and Toad. These were my favorite childhood books, by the way. I chose to do the provisional cast on, so it gives me a neater look at the top when I sew. And here's the short row shaping for his mouth and his little arms and his little legs. I do end up filling them with poly pellets. I will pop a picture up of Frog and Toad that I completed last year. These ones are going to be the same colors and the same colors of clothes, so I'm really excited. The other 2 things I'm entering are Templetop Cowl. It is a free pattern, and I'll pop a picture of that up, and I'll pop a picture of mine up because it was my first stranded color work knit that I ever did, and I'm really proud of it. And the other thing I'm going to enter is a mosaic color work. It was my very first color work, and I'll pop a picture of that up. I think I've shown a picture of it to you before. So I'm just really proud of those being my first 2 color works, and they're really bright, nice contrasting colors. So the cowl, the Barnstable shawl, and Frog and Toad are going to the fair this year. I'm really excited. So this has slowed down a little bit of my summer top knitting because I'm trying to take my time and do a really good job on Frog and Toad, so I might have a chance of getting the judges' attention. All right. Next on let's see, what am I going to talk about next? My Seashore skirt. The last time I showed you a gauge swatch, and I still have that lone gauge swatch. It's an all-over lace motif, and I'm knitting this in Susuro by Malabrigo. It is, I know it's merino, unsuperwashed merino, 50% mulberry silk, 25% merino, and 25% linen. And I thought that the merino was going to give it very nice, like stability for a skirt. So what I talked about this the last time is I did my gauge swatch, and my gauge did not meet pattern, and it's very important for this skirt that my gauge be close to pattern, or that I can do the math to choose the right pattern. So I ended up with 19 stitches to the inch, and I wasn't sure. I'd never measured gauge and lace before, so I took it to my local knit shop, and the yarn owner helped me. She also got 19 stitches to the inch. The pattern calls for 21. So I spoke with her, and I really did like this fabric. Now that I look at it on camera, it is a little open. She suggested I bump down 1 needle size. I think I did this in a 6, and she suggested I bump down 1 needle size and do the gauge swatch again and see how much it changed it. And if I like that fabric, go ahead and do the math to maybe choose a choose a different size skirt. So this is still in the works. I'm very excited about it, but it's been put on hold because I've got other things started. All right. All right, folks, you may not know, but I had to pause. I'm in my upstairs craft room, and I just have an AC unit in a window, and it was getting very, very hot, and so I had to cool off. And I do have a box fan going on over here, so I hope that that's not too noisy. I'll try to maybe talk a little bit louder to make sure that you can hear me, and if the quality of the sound isn't bad, I guess I will just have to redo part of the video. So next on the list is joinery, and I'll put details of all of this on screen and or in the comments section. I got the back 2 panels of joinery. This is being knit in Barocco modern linen, and these are the 2 back panels. So this side is the left back, and this is the right side. So I don't know how that turned out, but I did it anyway. So that's how that is. The cool thing about this is as you are knitting it, she has you do these series of yarn overs along the edge where you just knit them together. So you can see I can pull apart, but the gap doesn't really show. So that's the back. It's been very interesting. It's the first thing I've knit in 100% pure linen. I'm enjoying the pattern. It's really fun and it's really engaging. The linen is hard on my hands. It makes my hands tired, and I have done a little more research, and a lot of people say that the Barocco is a more splitty linen, and I am finding that. So it's taken me a bit to get used to, but overall I'm really loving the process. But let me show you the front. So there's 3 panels in the front of the top, and I've finished. Here's the first one. So this one goes here with the lace at the top. It's a short panel. And then there's a little difference in length here, but you can see I'm working on the second panel. I chose gray as my contrast color, and you can see how I've joined the first 2. So the second panel has lace at the bottom, and then it's stockinette up, and then this third panel over here is stockinette up, and it matches the height of the lace panel up here at the top. And then you seam the sides together and just the tops together. So I think I'll get this done in short order. I'm kind of excited about it. And now that I've gotten used to knitting with the linen and understanding the pattern, it's starting to go a lot more quickly. So I think I'll have this finished in a week or so. The next work in progress is the sister top to this. This is what I have on is brain let me show you. It will come to me in a minute. Sabai top. This is Sabai top number 2, and I'm working on Sabai top number 1 in noble cotton. So the difference is that there's ribbing on the neckline, there's ribbing on the armhole details and down along the sides, and then ribbing at the bottom. The ribbing at the top, it looks so funky. In the pattern, they had you knit a couple rows before you started the ribbing, and I'm just a little wary of how it might turn out. I think it's going to fit me. I don't know how this is going to block out. I thought about taking it off the needles and blocking it before I finished the body, and then I just decided, no, I'm not going to, because I've already knit 2 tops in noble cotton this summer, and it hasn't let me down yet. It has great stitch definition. It blocks out really nice. So I'll continue on. I'll continue on with this. Yeah, this is a fun one. This is definitely a fun one. So those are my Frog and Toad, Joinery, and Sabai top number 1 are my works in progress. Next are some things that waylaid me at the knit store because I can't stop buying patterns and yarn. And I am buying patterns and yarn that go together, so I want to share with you some yarn and some of my future plans. So in a former video, I had done a Suri shirt, but I greatly modified it. So I made it a lot more fitted. It was meant to be boxy. I wanted to knit it more to pattern, so it had the split hem at the bottom and more boxy, and that the drop sleeve came off the shoulder a little bit. And I'd had my eye on this Noro fingering weight yarn, so I got it um, to make that top as it's supposed to be. So I'm really excited about this. I have a lot of knitting to do, as you can tell, and I need to stay away from the yarn store. But I have been dreaming of making something with this Noro for about a year, and I finally found my excuse to buy it. So it does have a designated pattern. There is also a Suri shirt that is V-neck. It's a very wide ribbed V-neck. I'll pop a picture of it up here. And I found this Juniper Moon. I don't know if it's Zooey or Zoe. The lights are playing with it. Juniper Moon Farm, and this is cotton and in linen, 60% cotton, 40% linen. This was 40% off, and there was just enough to do that Suri shirt V-neck. So this really pretty blue yarn is being dedicated to that pattern that I'm excited to knit. And then the last shirt, and it's because somebody knitted up in the shop and I saw it, it was hanging there on display, was the Luminos tee. I think it was popular last summer. I did have one friend make it, and I'll show you the yarn. And again, it was the sale bin's fault for this. This Malabrigo Susuro was 40% off. It is Polar Moon. It's different. It's a different gray than the yarn I'm using for my skirt. You can see this has a lot more pink tone and this is blue tone. So anyway, for the Luminos, this was on sale and I thought, oh, I have to have a Luminos tee out of this very luminous looking fiber. So this is going to be my contrast color. And then in the non-sale bin, I found this to be my main color. Let me see. Back here, it shows more of the saturation and the true color of the pink. And I'm a super big fan of pink. As you will see, I knit a lot of things in it. So this will be the contrast color, main color of the Luminos tee. So those are more of my plans and what I've been working on. I wanted to touch base on that and talk about another reason why my summer knitting is a little bit delayed. And that is, if you saw my episode where I interviewed my friend Mary, who started a mobile yarn craft bus called Mama's Mobile Mercantile. We did an interview in my last episode, and we just really hit it off and we're talking about a lot of fun ideas. And she asked me if I would like to join because she wanted to offer knitting lessons, and she tried to learn to knit, but it didn't take with her. And I said, yes, I would love to. And so she has these ideas of teaching knitting, crochet, and crafting lessons, but have kits, like entry-level kits for people. So I jumped on board with that. So I kind of started knitting like little prototypes for kits that I want to do, like mug rugs, just like a 3.5 or a 4x4 square, just in garter stitch. So when people are learning, they can practice the skills of casting on, knitting, binding off. And then I wanted to do some very simple scarf patterns to carry them through, like a drop stitch scarf and feather and fan scarf, so we can start getting them incorporating purl stitches in more and just things like that. But building the curriculum of how I want to teach. I've taught some people one-on-one to knit, but I haven't done much teaching in groups. And so she and I have just been really working on how we want to form our classes and how we want our curriculums to look and what we want to teach to make it accessible to people. Because people, we're finding, really do want to learn skills and they want to go back to like the grandma hobbies. They're just so popular. And then also building community, people being together and learning something new and just sharing and experimenting and just really living life. So that has delayed my summer knitting a little bit because I've been meeting a lot with Mary and we've just been working on the plans with where we want to go with Mama's Mobile Mercantile and the services and the things that we offer. So there's going to be more to come there. I want to have her come back on and teach me how to crochet. And I'd like to have more conversations with her because I know a little bit about crochet, but not a lot. She knows a little bit about knitting and not a lot. And I would like for both of us to just have conversations. I don't know. Let me know what you think. If you think that that would be interesting, to have us come on and just kind of talk from a little bit different perspectives of our crafts. Yeah. So anyway, that's where I am with my summer knitting. Um, if you've come this far, please like my channel, subscribe, leave a comment. If you've knitted anything that I've talked about today, let me know how your experiences went with that. Let me know if you have any tips for me as I dive into teaching my beginning knitting with people. And if you've taught some groups, let me know some of your tips and tricks and things that you think could help me really provide a good class for people. So anyway, I hope everybody's summer knitting is going great.